Welcome to Time to Teach with Tammy, the podcast that gives tips, advice, and suggestions to teachers by a real teacher. So sit back and enjoy. And oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. And we're back. Welcome to episode 87 of Time to Teach. Today's episode is entitled Maximizing Google Sites Efficiency. It is just what it sounds like. We're going to be talking about all the many different things that you can do with Google Sites. And also when I say Google Sites, understand that any of these things can actually be used with any type of website creator. So if you're not using Google Sites, I'm just referring to Google Sites because I love Google. I am a Google lover. We are a Google school, maybe unofficially, but we definitely, I think not even unofficially, we use Google for everything. So I'm just in the habit of using Google Sites. And so, yeah, but if you're like, hey, not really using Google Sites, but I'm using this other thing, Weebly or whatever, all of these things can be applied to any type of website, but I'm just speaking from what I know of because it's what I use. So that's what I'm sharing about. So if learning more about Google Sites or any other website creator is something that interests you, then make sure you join me on today's episode. So let's go ahead and get started. So you might be thinking, well, I know how to use a website, and so I don't even know what you're about to talk to me about. There's like one or two things you can do with it. I'm here to tell you, you're probably incorrect on that kind of thinking, just because I have a list here of at least 6 different ways that I personally use websites. And it seems like it's pretty cut and dry, but actually there's so many things, and I will probably say, well, not probably because I'm saying it, but I would say that there are probably other ways that you can use websites that I'm not even using it. So one or two of these might be obvious ways, but I'm going to list the different ways I use Google Sites. So let's get this Google Site party started. Okay. First way, this is probably the absolute most obvious way, is to use it as a class website. I probably need not mention that, but here I am mentioning it. So on my class website, I will list basically the homepage is the newsletter. So I have the highlights of what we're learning during that week. And then their optional homework. We don't really have homework. I mean, we do give homework. Reading is mandatory, and then there might be other activities that they can choose from if they want to do it. If not, that's fine. If I have kiddos who I think, we should be practicing this, then I have a conversation with the parents and tell them that. I also put photos for the week. What else is on there? Any school policies, class policies that they need to know about. Links. I will sometimes make video tutorials to kind of show parents how to use different websites or do different things, and I can post that on there. It's a nice way for them to just be able to have a go-to place if they need to learn a little bit more about a thing we're doing. So that's a nice way to house it. So like I said, class website, not going to spend a whole lot of time there because I feel like that is the most obvious thing. Okay, second way. Now this is actually our assistant principal. So shout out to her. Her name is Miss V. I know she sometimes listens, but she has started an elementary website, and I just find it very wonderful, does a great source. I actually have a bookmark so it comes up and I just go there because I'm always needing to refer to the duties, recess duties, because for some reason I can never remember where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. So she's included what used to be a lot of information in a binder that we all got. But being a green school, they're really trying to work towards more green friendly ways to do anything. And one of those ways is to have all of that information digitally and then leave it up to the individual teachers. If they want to print something out, they feel like they need that, then they can. But instead of printing out a complete binder of information for each teacher, just having it available digitally. So I love it. Probably should have brought this up in advance and maybe I will try. But so basically, like I said, things that would have been in the blue binder would be recess duties, different elementary 101 is something they have titled. That's just, what do you need to know about the elementary section? Emergency drills. I'm actually on the website now so I can read it to you. Schedule, so you can see the different teachers' schedules, curriculum and units, our report cards, and we have a 1 to 4 system, so those different achievement levels we can refer to, the whole referral process, policies, and then teacher supervision. So basically, what is the evaluation system and who is in charge of what? And so that's kind of nice that we can refer to that. Anyway, every morning I actually just bring up that website because I know I'm probably going to have to refer to it, especially we're early in the beginning of the school year, so I do believe that at some point I will memorize my very easy to remember recess duty schedule. But until then, I'm bringing this website up on a daily basis. The assistant principal has also included in the elementary website some other great things that I love, like education podcasts. So a teacher can go on there and refer to it when and as needed. And then a few other things, flexible seating, so ideas on how to make that work. And then books for loan. If teachers want to take a look, it's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow, just kidding. It's fit in so perfectly there. Anyway, so yes, an actual website that's created either for your school or if you're a school like mine, we're actually pre-K to 12th, having the different sections on there. It's really, really nice. From a teacher's point of view, it is super nice to be able to refer to this website and know that I have a place to go if I need to get information. Part of the challenge could be getting your teachers to get into the habit of going to this website. But I think having it there is really great, and maybe even in those first days of the school year, setting aside time to just explore, learn how to go on the website, have time to explore. It's really great. So that's another way that you can use it. And she being the assistant principal, has this site on Google Sites. So it's fantastic. Okay, way number 3 that you can use Google Sites. You can use it for your grade level. So that's something that I actually created a website for our grade level several years ago, and I just house important things that pertains to our grade level. So obviously curriculum. I have links to important documents, although we have so many things on our shared drive. Sometimes, it's just nice to have a place where you're housing those super important things that maybe you're frequenting. So I have that on there. I also have kind of like an introduction to the grade level. This is most beneficial to new teachers. So obviously, new teachers need a place where they can go and they can learn what are all those important things. Obviously, I'm also, as grade level leader, I'm also meeting with the new teachers and, briefing them. More than briefing, we definitely dive deeply into what happens on our grade level. so I'm talking to them and getting them up to date, and also just kind of an orientation of those things. But it's nice that they can have a document on our website where they can go to if maybe they have additional questions, or who knows, maybe I forgot to mention something, or maybe I did mention something, but it's so much new information that they need to go back and view. I just feel like it's a great way for them to be able to do that. I think I have on there, let's see, I guess I need to bring up my own site so I can see what else I have on there. Okay, so I also have resources that go along with things that we teach, like concepts that we teach. So if you need a place where you can find additional resources, that is on there. Let's see, bringing that up here so I can see more accurately other things. My computer's very slow right now, so just give me a moment. Okay, so assessments and benchmarks, I have linked on there, a page for that. How to do running records, some of our agreements for running records, for our writing samples. I also have all the class schedules for a grade level, so we can see each other's schedule, teaching schedule, if we need to. I have events and happenings that pertain to our grade level. So, like there's a time where we do, like in January, we will typically do a screening for brand new incoming students for the following year. So they're not coming from the early childhood section. They're brand new to the school. We have to do a screening. So I have all of those things that typically happen. I have that in one place where teachers can refer to. I have the supply list on there if teachers want to refer to the supply list. That is on our grade level. So really just like any grade level thing. Oh, and something new that I started is adding video tutorials to things. So how do you access our shared calendar? How do you get to progress reports and do that? So any kind of tutorials, that's been something new that I've added to our website. So having a website for your grade level, and anyone could do that. You don't have to be the grade level leader, but a grade level, I find it would be very beneficial to have a website that grade level can refer to. So that was number 3. Number 4, the number 4 way to use Google Sites or any type of websites is for your units. So we've now added a new unit. So now we have 6 sites, or six units within our grade level that we teach. And I like to keep a website of each unit. And the way I use this site is I'll actually use it for me and the student. So I use it to put our focus on. Then I will include resources, and then I will also include things that students can consume. So different maybe reading sites or different things like that they can use. So it's kind of an all-in-one. But it's nice because then I have one place again that I'm housing with resources for our different units. So yes, I also have units on our shared drive, but this is a little bit different where I might still have that same information for the teachers, but then for my own personal use, I have a one go-to. So I have my unit website is kind of broken down into the different enduring understandings and focuses for each week. And then on there, like, let me look at one, for example. So our unit 1 is myself, me and my place in the world. And on here, week number 1, what is a community? And I have different resources, different books that students can access. The Crayon Box That Talked, we read that, but also there's a recording of that on YouTube. So I have that on there so that during maybe reading time, a student can actually be looking and listening to that resource. And another read aloud that I think I actually created from Screencastify, and so students can be listening to that. So that's basically, another way to do it. Then I have resources that go into math by week, or different weekly focuses, numbers to 10, and then I have resources and printouts that I can use. So it's nice to have just kind of a go-to place, formative assessment. So anything that I want at a glance is on my unit websites. So that was way number 4. Number 5, you can use, this might be also a little more something well known, but using a website as a digital portfolio. So I have my own private website for me, and I try to update it frequently-ish. I don't think I've touched it in maybe 6 months to a year, but I just feel like if you update once in a while, it's easier than building the whole thing. But just keeping a digital portfolio, I keep my resume on there. I will keep different videos of things that I do in the classroom, basically portfolio, but digital fashion. I feel like I don't really need to explain too much about that because we all understand what a professional portfolio is and what digital means. It's just taking actual, paper portfolio into digital. Now I think this goes without saying, but just also know if you're including any videos or pictures of students, make sure that you have consent from the parents beforehand. Otherwise, use a blurring effect, use tools to blur their pictures so that we're not using things if we don't actually have permission to use it. So just be mindful of that. Number 6, my number 6 way of using Google Sites is I actually will use this for PD purposes. So I have a website where I have a Google site where it's kind of like PD and resources when I'm learning about a new idea or something I want to try, and I research it and I keep the different resources. I make a tab for each one. So learning all about something like Makerspace and Steam and STEM, and I guess it's now Stream. Forget the new letter we've added to that. There's a space for that. The PLCs that I do at work, there's a place for that. Adobe Spark, there's a place for that. So having like one place where I can keep track of my learning is really nice. So it's a professional development website, and it just lets me keep everything in one place I can go to and kind of add on, refer back to as my own learning grows and continues. So there is that. I'll also kind of add that I have last year, so I guess this would be maybe number 7, I was working with our literacy coach, and she and I was finding it difficult and kind of expressed to her that, like for us to collaborate, my time is very limited, and I would need to have a space where we could virtually also collaborate. So she created a website for us. So she and I had a coaching website, and we were able to like track everything we were doing during our coaching cycle on that website. So posts like what were learning targets for that week, what was I working on with the kids, what was I trying to improve on that week or get the kids to learn that week. Actually, more what was I trying to get the kids to do that week, because it was less about me and more about the kids and student learning. And then it was just a fantastic way for us to kind of post like, look, this is what happened that week, this is what I did, maybe this is what was challenging. And we kind of corresponded on that website, and we had a tab for every week. So that was really nice. So I guess I'm not really sure what to refer to that or call that, but having like a coaching cycle or something like that, that's how we used Google Sites at one time. So that's number 7. Number 8, see, there's already 8 ways. It's kind of crazy how much you can do. So I created a Google site to keep track of different bulletin board ideas and classroom decor. I know that seems so silly, but I hate bulletin boards. Hate is strong. I don't totally hate, but it's not my thing. It's not what I'm super excited about. I like learning boards. That's more my thing. But anyway, I at one point really wanted to better track the different ideas and different ways we could use bulletin boards and just even classroom decor, which I try to keep very minimal because I believe that everything is a distraction to our students. So I even have a website where I keep ideas of like how can I use bulletin boards and what are the different decor ideas I can use in the classroom. And I just kind of have like things like back to school ideas, and then like different learning boards, just different ways to utilize those things. It's just a nice go-to place for that. And I think that is pretty much it. I do have a website, but I think this could be so it could be incorporated into one of like your PD websites, or it could be incorporated by itself. So I will maybe include this as a separate way to create a site. I do have a site called Techniques and Strategies for Classroom Challenges. On this website, I basically have different learning challenges or behavioral challenges on here, and then the different ways that you can work with students. So I'm gathering kind of research of what these are best practices when you see someone struggling in writing, or when you're seeing a student who has auditory processing issues. Here's research about what that is and different ways that you can work with your learners' sensory issues. So I have that as another tab on my Techniques and Strategies website. So what it is, how to work with students, and it's just very much growing. Another tab in that website is on impulsivity and distractibility. So what is it? What does it look like? And how can you work with students? So just kind of is a gathering place of research and best practices to work with students. And like everything, it's growing. It's ever evolving. It's not finished. As I learn more and I research more and I find websites that help me better understand those areas, I then add it to my website. So it's kind of handy. So that's number 9. Okay, I think that really covers the majority of the ways that I use Google Sites. And as I stated earlier in the podcast, when I say Google Sites, you can really be using this with any type of website creator. And also, even though I have 9 ways to use it, I am so sure that there are other ways that you can use it. So let's just kind of brief as I close down what we learned in today's episode. So different ways that I personally use Google Sites. This is not a comprehensive list, just what I do. 1, as a class website. Number 2, you can use it as a section website, as we do, having an elementary website or a whole school website. 3, using a website for your grade level. 4, using a website, Google Site specifically in my case, for all your different units. Number 5, a professional digital portfolio. Number 6, PD. So anytime you're learning about new things, you just have a website where you're housing that new learning. Number 7, kind of related to PD and could even be embedded within that. But like I stated, I went through a coaching cycle with our literacy coach, and we had a website to house all of that. 8, I have a website on bulletin boards and classroom decor, so you can use Google Sites or any creator that way. And then 9, techniques and strategies for different learning issues and challenges in the classroom. So it's sad that there's not a full 10, and I bet I'm missing a way that I use Google Sites, because like I said, I use it in so many different ways, but I feel like 9's good. So that's it, you guys. If you use Google Sites in a way that I haven't mentioned, I would love to hear from you. You can contact me. I really think Twitter is probably the best way, but you can tweet to me. My Twitter handle is at TammyJ123. That's at TAMIJ123. And now it's time for our wins and fails for the week segment. So when I have to say, you guys, I have an amazing group this year. I have an amazing group every year. Please understand, I really take value in all my students and all my groups. But I'm just super impressed with how quickly this is coming along, this being our class. If you are a teacher of young students, you know that those initial weeks and months can be very painful. But this is probably the quickest any of my groups have been able to pick up on the routines and procedures. I mean, they're just getting it. They stop, look, and listen when I ask them to stop, look, and listen. Usually that is a battle. In the beginning, I'll usually stop, look, and listen, and people are still talking, not looking, not stopping, not listening. So yeah, I'm just seeing things come along and develop much more quickly than I think I ever have with this age group. So obviously that makes me very pleased. So yay, that's definitely a win. And fail for the week. Do I have a fail? I don't even know that I have a fail. I really don't think I have a fail. I don't know, you guys. I can't even think of a fail. I can't say that everything has gone perfectly, which is the idea of my fails. Fails is never like, oh my gosh, this is a fail, I'm being negative Nancy. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to be able to look at something that didn't necessarily work the way I intended and reflect back on it so I can improve it. And I am sure I had a moment like that this past week, but yeah, I can't even think of what that would be. So we're gonna leave that as it is. Just leave it there to do what it will. Okay, so that's it, you guys. I'm closing out. Thank you so much for joining me. I know our podcast choices are very vast, and I appreciate anyone who's willing to take the time to listen to this. So thank you. Have a wonderful week. Oh, yes, before I go, I want to remind you we're in a 2-week cycle right now as we're starting up the school year. I'm actually kind of liking the 2-week cycle, so I'm contemplating with the idea of keeping it that way. I just find it gives me a lot more time to kind of chew on things, try things out, and be able to create meaningful episodes, which is what I want. And remember, it's also for me, mostly for me. So that's why if you're like, hey, I have been questioned, like, hey, are you going to publish another episode? Yes, but we're on a 2-week cycle, so that's what it is for now. And if I make that decision to keep it on a 2-week cycle, I will let you know. But that's it for now. Until next time. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Before you go, don't forget you can catch our show notes online at www.timetoteach.libsyn. That's libsyn.com. We're also on Facebook at Time to Teach. Don't forget to check out our Facebook group, Teachers for Effective Curriculum. And if you're an educator with your own podcast show, I invite you to join our brand new Facebook group, Teachers Who Podcast. Let's grow a community where we can network, problem solve, and discuss anything and everything podcast related. I'll see you there.